All right. Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot tonight. I am so excited to hear what Jet fans have to say after that miserable fucking game we had to watch yesterday. The second game in a row where we cannot find the end zone. It has been absolutely brutal. A complete breakdown on the offensive side of the ball, both from a playing standpoint and just a pure mental error standpoint. We had drops, we had penalties. The coaching has been absolutely abysmal. Zach Wilson didn't really play that bad. Not great, but didn't play that bad. Not the issue as to why we lost yesterday overall. We got the Bills on tonight. They're playing the Broncos. Keep a little bit of an eye on them because we are playing them next week. Boys and girls, you know the call-in show. If you have not been a part of the call-in show before, this is your first time around, all you have to do, I'll put at some point a link pinned in the description. We're going to do this, let's call it 8:30. Go at 8:30, and you'll get 3 minutes on the clock. After 3 minutes,
That's it! You're out of here!
You get ejected from the cockpit. So there are going to be a lot of comments that I want to hear from. How did the Jets handle this the rest of the way out? Is it a coaching issue that we're currently running into? Is it a player issue? Who should see the field? Who should not see the field? I got a whole lot of feelings on this right now. And you guys, if you've watched any of my videos over the course of the last 2 days, you probably have a pretty good understanding of where I fall on a lot of this. Orlando C coming in. They just threw another flag for holding, right? Yeah, it feels like it. I thought I was going to get a penalty going to the bathroom earlier today. Just hitting everyone with it. Blitzkrieg says, had to watch the end of Rocky IV to get myself together after yesterday. Dude, you see him going up against the Russian, get you all sorts of amped up. But it doesn't get me the warm, fuzzy feeling like a Monday morning victory lap does. We had 2 weeks in a row. More than that, 3 weeks in a row of no offense and 2 weeks in a row where we should have been able to win. It has been a complete abomination from a coaching standpoint. Penalties since the bye week. What are penalties? Penalties are a lack of discipline. Penalties are guys not dialed in. That falls on coaching. Saleh and Hackett, they both got to own it. 8 penalties again last night. 8 penalties the week before. 9 penalties the week before that. You can't win games like that. Every positive play we have, we got to include one other negative play in there. One negative, I don't know. One negative penalty or something like that. No, I guess no penalty's good. But let's go through the drives. I had to go through, and if you guys didn't watch the every throw video, I did do a little breakdown as far as what each drive was in the pinned comment. But drive 1. Intentional grounding. Drive kills itself. Now, if you want to blame Mitchell or Tomlinson for the defenders getting through, you can blame them. But the intentional grounding all but ended that drive, ended it in a field goal. Number 2, we get an end around to Garrett Wilson on a 2nd and 8. Get the first down. Uzomah gets caught holding. Bring it back. Garrett Wilson then has a drop on 2nd and 18. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Jets wind up getting a field goal. 3rd time. Holding gets us from the goal line. Zach has a great play. Sneaks out. Slithers out of the pocket. Gets us down, running down to the goal line. Steps out of bounds on the 3. We call a play from the 3-yard line. Uzomah holds after the Brees touchdown. Like literally 2 plays in a row, we thought we had a touchdown. You get a touchdown, you're feeling pretty good with this defense. Uzomah gets a hold. Negates it. 4th play, 3 runs. Or 4th drive, sorry. 4th drive of the game. We did 3 runs. This was the play everyone was talking about where Hackett's calling it in. Rodgers is on the headset. The play has not happened yet. And Rodgers shaking his head. He doesn't like it. Doesn't like the play call. 3rd and 1, sure as shit. stopped dead in his tracks. Punt. Fifth drive was a punt. Lazard stopped on the route or slowed up on the route. Did Zach overthrow him? Or was that on Lazard? Could have been either way. Then, on the defensive side of things, you get Huff with a roughing the passer call, diving at the quarterback's legs. No reason to do that. That is just a boneheaded play there, trying to get some numbers, and it just did not work out. And that eventually, or ultimately, ended up in the Raiders getting 3 points before the half. This game, at 13 points, or whatever it was, 13-12 at the end of the game, Jets would have been kicking a field goal. Huff doesn't do that. Jets are in better position. But the offense in the first half, abysmal. Yet we're still, what was it at halftime? 9-6? I think we were 9-6 going in half. Coming out of half, Jets are having a nice little drive. They have a nice little drive. They convert a 3rd and 8 to Gibson. But oh no, here comes the Michael Carter chop block. Bring it on back. There goes the drive. 7th drive, second play out of halftime. False start, making it 3rd and 13. Drives over. 8th drive, Becton gives up a sack. Now that was the one where he gets strip sacked and Becton dives on the ball. He does recover it. But ultimately, you lose the down and you wind up having a negative, massive negative play. Number 9, 9th play, or 9th drive. Garrett Wilson with a bum arm gets called to make a pass to Allen Lazard. You've got to be kidding me. Like, why isn't Garrett the beneficiary of the throw? Like, wouldn't you rather have Lazard throwing that than a bum arm Garrett Wilson? I don't even think that was even considered. Dude hurt his right arm. Oh, yeah, okay, let's throw it out of bounds. Right there. No. Stupid play call. I don't blame Garrett Wilson for that. He can't change the play call. But I do blame Hackett for that. Then Zach. What do I have here? Zach misses Cook. Incomplete pass after that. And then we get a 1-yard run. And that's where you get the 12 points from. Then the Jets get a turnover on downs. Starting to feel like, okay, we got some momentum. Zach winds up throwing the interception at the end of the game. But then even like with all that, you still have like a dime of a throw from Zach Wilson to Garrett Wilson in the left front of the end zone. It's not really in the end zone. It's not like the 2-3 yard line, but it smacks Garrett like right. It would have been a tough as hell catch, but man, Zach threw a dime. And then even the Hail Mary for Zach to escape and to get the ball up in a position where Conklin and Garrett both got their hands on it, and Conklin knocks it out of Garrett's hands. Like, I'm not saying I'm trying to rely on Hail Marys and stuff, but dude, nothing goes right. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours. And dude, I'm sorry. This is like Saleh and Hackett have to take the brunt of this. This was a full-on coaching implosion. And the tough thing is the Jets really can't do anything about it because you're kind of held hostage by Rodgers to some degree. You're not doing anything. You're not getting rid of Hackett like you probably want to because he's Rodgers' best friend. You're not getting rid of Saleh. I don't think it's fair to get rid of the head coach after he was part of the reason Rodgers got to New York in the first place. So basically the Jets are just sitting here waiting and holding formation. We're going to add some pieces in the offseason, but we're just sort of trying to pull away any kind of positives from this game and from the rest of the season. I want to play spoiler personally. I'm not looking at the draft board right now. I want to play spoiler. I want to win as many games as possible. I could give 2 shits about what position we pick in the draft right now. Now, maybe I throw my hands up in a month, and that's what ultimately happens. But look, there's no way Rodgers is coming back. They're saying middle of December. Middle of December, possibly. Now, Jets have to be in it for him to come back. But what are you calling that? Maybe the Miami game, so you have them for the last 4 weeks of the season? I don't know if the Jets are going to beat Buffalo. I don't know if the Jets are going to beat Miami. Based on how we've performed right now, you kind of need points to win games, and both those teams can score points, and the Jets can't. This was supposed to be the easy part of our schedule. And unlike last year, I still feel like it's the easier part of the schedule. We're just doing worse than we did before. God, it's friggin' brutal. Absolutely brutal. Cuddy says, I'm so disgusted. This team looks like Gase is the head coach. Things need to change. This is Bush League bullshit. Penalties, drops, bad play calls, same old Jets. I don't know how we can't get away from this same old Jets thing. It is a consistent thing year in and year out. It doesn't matter who the head coach is. It doesn't matter who the offensive coordinator is. It doesn't matter who the coach is. I can tell you before we take a snap on the fucking field that we are not going to have a good offensive performance. It's just exactly what happens. And like the only saving grace is that Rodgers is here next year, and that's probably why Brees and Garrett haven't lost their ever-loving minds. Because if you didn't have Rodgers coming back for next season, every one of these offensive playmakers would want off the team. Every single one of them. Cuddy, I'm right there with you. Brutal start. Blitzkrieg says, next time you make your intro, can you take Uzama out of it? I'll tell my buddy. So actually, I didn't make that one. My buddy made it. I'll be like, yo, dude, I think we got to swap out Uzama. lots of feelings feeling that way. Jim Page says he's rooting for Denver tonight. Texas Toe says, I'm just so emotionally dead after yesterday. Another championship defense wasted. Defense is so volatile year over year, and the Jets were able to get elite defense for 2 years in a row. You're going to start losing pieces on this defense. We don't know if Mosley's going to be back next year, if they're going to restructure him, if they're going to try and retain him. You have one more year of Michael Carter II as an elite slot corner before you have to decide whether you're going to pay him or let him walk. You got Sauce, you got Garrett, you got Quincy. The D-line is stout. You don't know if you're going to have Huff next year. What are you going to do? Are you going to franchise him? Going to give him $20 million a year after just investing 2 first-round picks in edge rushers the last 2 drafts? I don't know. It doesn't seem to me like Huff's going to be here much longer. Pisses me off because he's a homegrown talent that deserves a pay raise where other guys like a Becton or like Lawson or, insert any free agent signing that we've had. Lazard, that hasn't earned their salt. Huff has. Dude, wasting this championship defense kills me. Edward Stewart says, never seen a Jets offense so bad. It's like anemic bad. Like even our good players, like Brees can't get anything going. Can't get anything going. Not sure what to make of it. Ryder and Talon's Pa says, less Uzama, more Rucker. Less Michael Carter, more Izzy. Less Lazard, more anybody. I'm right there with you. We got 3% chance to make the playoffs at this point. What is the damn use in putting in any veterans? Get the young guys as much playing time as possible. Sneakers to Boot says, I plead the fifth on this godforsaken team. Right? I don't want to see it anymore. Just sucks. Josh says, I don't think the offensive ineptitude is on Zach. We were able to move the ball well last night until we got in the red zone. I think Hackett needs to be much more aggressive in the red zone and stupid fouls. So penalties are absolutely the backbreaker, first and foremost. I will say it is tough to have an offense in rhythm when you consistently have negative plays like that. I will also say that it is absolutely absurd that we can't score any points in the red zone at all. At all. I don't know how the Jets have not been able to score over the course of the last, aside from a 50-yard touchdown from Brees. That wasn't a red zone score. You're talking the last red zone score we had that we actually needed to get or were able to get on our own, I think was Denver. If you want to factor out the Philly game, because did we just have the one touchdown against Philly? I think we did. I think it was just the Brees touchdown against Philadelphia, and it was just they wanted him to score because they wanted the time. I definitely think this red zone issue is on Hackett for sure. Oreo says, hey, Ryan, can you check the offensive stats of the 2020 team? The Gase era where they won only 2 games. Did that offense score more points through 10 games than this team? That team was historically bad. That team had no talent on it. I would venture to bet it probably did score more points because, it sucked watching that team, but at least you could say oh, okay, they're moving the ball a little bit. Even the shell of Frank Gore was able to do some stuff. I don't know what the stats are offhand. I'm not gonna pop into that. One of you guys in the chat can let me know. Blitzkrieg says, we all want Huff back. Will he want to stay? He will want to take the money and bigger role. Corey ain't coming back. Lazard is not a wide receiver 2. No, we're stuck with Lazard either way. You just have to make him wide receiver 3 or 4 at this point. Now, you have Gibson, who looks like he's going to be a pretty decent slot. You have Garrett Wilson, obviously, as your wide receiver 1. I do think the Jets go out and make a big splash with a Mike Evans or a T. Higgins. Right the wrong that should have been taken in Green Bay. Maybe that's where they're going with the T. Higgins stuff. Mike Evans, I think, from a length of contract, makes a lot more sense. And then you always have the Devontae Adams rumors kind of kicking around. I just don't want to trade a whole lot for it. So I guess that's up in the air for how that goes. As far as Huff goes, I really get the feeling that the Jets are going to franchise tag Huff and trade him for either a first or a high second-round pick. I think that's how the Jets get an extra draft pick. Because you've already paid the signing bonus to JJ. You've already paid the signing bonus to Will McDonald. I think you're going to have to just kind of make your bed with those two. And unless Huff signs a contract before then, you cannot allow Huff to leave via free agency. You have to, at the very least, tag him. But I'm starting to think it's going to be very, very hard to retain Bryce Huff. I do not think it's going to be easy. Sneakers to Boots says Sal is too much of a believer that you need to stick to the plan because it will work. Defense is great, but he still can tell Hackett to mix it the hell up. So I do think that if we didn't have the penalties, it would be interesting to see what this offense could potentially look like. Because there's still lots of question marks from a play calling perspective. Like, I don't understand Garrett Wilson throwing the ball to Lazard after he has a bum arm. I don't understand why we're running to the right when our strength of our offense is to the left and the strength of their defense is into where we were running. Like that part of things doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense to me. Did the Broncos just recover a fumble? Is that how this game just started? I think it is. Yeah. There you go. All right. Watching the Bills shit the bed makes me feel a little bit better. The division is probably the only way Jets could have any shot at making the playoffs at this point. Not that we should be talking playoffs regardless. Alan says the Jets lost due to no sacrificial Achilles tear. Certainly feels that way. Certainly feels that way. Boys and girls, if you're just hopping into the stream, if you'd like to support the channel, possibly win a little bit of money as we go through the rest of this season here, it's going to be tough to watch the games, but at least if you have a little bit of a parlay going, head over to Underdog Sports. Link is in the description down below. If you want to help support the channel, they'll match your first deposit up to $100, 100% match. I've had a lot of fun with it. I don't think they realized that I would be playing this with or without the sponsorship, but if you at least sign up with my code, it shows them that I'm worth sponsoring, and then maybe you'll get a little more content out of me. So if you want to support it, you can head over that way. Dakota saying first play James Cook fumble. Yeah, the Cook brothers not having a good run of it recently. Sneakers to Boots says there is no rhythm or flow to this offense. It looks piecemealed by a 5-year-old throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's definitely what it feels like. I mean, how many times have we seen, there was an incomplete pass on first down. You know, it was a nice throw, but the receiver dropped it. Okay, well, what are we going to run on second down after we just had a throw that got us no yards? Want to bet $100 that it's definitely going to be a run? Because you'd probably be right on 95% of those occasions. Jets get an incompletion on first down, guaranteed run the next play. Where's the play action out of like the same sets? We were seeing this the 2 and 3 tight end sets all the time. I'm afraid to use the 3 tight end set because I don't want Uzama on the field. Like I don't want to see Garrett. I don't want to see Lazard. I don't want to see Uzama at all on the field at all. But unfortunately, due to our depth and the contracts we're paying, I don't see any way we don't have them on the field. Boogie Down Bronx says offense is on life support. Unbelievably horrible on offense. This is not an NFL offense. Hackett is hanging on Rodgers' coattails. He's worse than Gase. I will say this, at least bringing in Hackett got us Rodgers. Like, I don't think there's any Jet fan that would have said, hey, Nathaniel Hackett is our first choice for offensive coordinator. I don't think he would be here if Rodgers were not here. And if he was, I mean, obviously we signed him prior to getting Rodgers. So if Rodgers had said, oh, no, I'm retiring, or oh, no, I'm not going to the Jets, then, yeah, it would be a big problem. but I think he'd be gone. Now, as far as like offensive play calling, like how can you switch stuff up? I want more young guys. I want Ruckert. I want Gibson. I want no Uzama. I want no Lazard. I want Izzy. I don't want Carter. I don't want to see Carter active again. I'm done with Michael Carter. Sorry, dude. Great leader. Fucking catch the ball, dude. You couldn't catch a cold. Really embarrassing. Embarrassing performances from The Voice. So what do we do? Do you get Todd Dowling to call plays? Like, is that okay if Hackett says, hey, I'm going to spend more time with Zach trying to help him out, and then Downing starts calling plays? Then at least maybe there's some switch up without it being a total, like, implosion or something. Devin comes in, says, I keep seeing 3% chance to make the playoffs. Is that a 3% chance right now? What are the odds if we win the next two? I know that seems crazy right now. So the chances go up as we win. I think the 3% chance is just implying, like, look, if the Jets can't beat the Raiders and the Jets can't beat the Chargers, the Jets sure as shit should not beat the Bills. They sure as shit should not beat the Dolphins. They sure as shit probably won't beat the Houston Texans if they're playing the same way they are playing. The Browns look good. It's taking into account everyone else's record, how they're playing, and how the Jets are currently playing. So if the Jets win the next two games, those chances will go up. The Jets' best shot at possibly getting into the playoffs is going to be through the division. So if you can take care of your division games, which, look, I'll be honest, I don't have any confidence that we can do that because you still have to score points, and we just don't score points. The Giants are a team you should have scored points on. The Chargers, with the 32nd ranked pass defense, is a team you should have been able to score points on. The Raiders, with the 31st run defense, are a team you should have scored points on. So that 3% might as well be 0%, if you ask me. Zach Rosenberg says, Saleh is a great defensive coordinator, but not a good head coach. He is not taking responsibility for the offense. The 23 season is a repeat of the 22 season. Well, because the 23 season is a copy-paste of what the 22 season was. Like, it literally is Zach Wilson as the starting quarterback, and that is a big problem because the offense can't get going. Now, we are seeing more penalties this year than we did last year, even though we started off the season as one of the least penalized teams in the league. Do I think that Saleh has been a good coach so far? I think he's been fine. I mean, I think he's better than Bowles. I think he's better than Gase. But outside of that, you know, he's a little more rah-rah, a little less... look, he doesn't want to target anyone. He doesn't want to put a target on anyone's back. He's going to say, hey, it starts with me. It's, you know, we got to clean it up. We're right there. It's so close. And like all these different euphemisms and positive thinking. It just does not work in the New York media at times. And look, I'll be honest. I don't care how bad Saleh is this year. I am not moving off of him because you know what Rodgers would want as his head coach? Nathaniel Hackett. So no, I don't want to see that. I think Saleh is a good coach. I really do. I think he's trying to protect his buddy. I think he's trying to protect Zach. And as long as they're still moving players out, like if Uzama doesn't get more touches, if Ruckert gets more opportunities, if Lazard starts getting less touches, which it seemed like they started to try and do last week, then I think at least you have some thing to lean on and say, hey, at least they're not sticking to the same thing over and over again. And I'll be honest, Zach didn't look that bad. He didn't look great. Like a good quarterback should be able to elevate your team and win that game. And we know Zach can't really elevate the team. Ooh, God bless me. But I think Zach didn't hurt the team yesterday. I think that's the only reason we were in the team. Oh my God. Did Buffalo just throw another interception? Not another, but the first interception. That's what it looks like. Is there a penalty? Does he have his toes in? Snags it. 1 foot. Oh, he's out of bounds. Dang it. Joe says it's not play calling, it's Zach. He is missing at every level. Zach is definitely part of the problem. He's still throwing hospital balls. He's throwing balls that are, making Garrett Wilson jump, that are going to get him crushed. He's definitely not playing good. but I don't think he was the reason we lost yesterday. Kelvin says, what's up, Ryan? Do you think we activate Simeon? I really hope we do. I don't get the feeling that they feel Simeon is really going to be the answer because of how blatant the offensive penalties are. Like, if Zach was playing like garbage and missing wide open receivers or taking bad sacks, like, obviously the Chargers game was really bad. But this past game, it's hard to put the blame on him. Hard to put the blame on him. Andrew says, if we had Adams, we'd be killing it. It's who you double, and whoever you do, the other feasts. So yeah, we want another stud wide receiver. But there's plenty of receivers in the league that are getting separation similarly to Allen Lazard, like a DeAndre Hopkins, like a DK Metcalf, like I had a whole list of them going for a little bit. Terry McLaurin. But for whatever reason, Lazard's soft as baby shit. He won't go up and get the ball. He won't come back and drive towards the ball. That's one of the things Bart Scott talked about in the postgame as to why that interception was thrown. I still don't think Lazard should have been the target on that play. Like, I don't know if that's Hackett saying, hey, this is where this is going to have to go, and Lazard is just running the route that has to do it. That's really dumb. But Zach had some other guys open. He had the flat to his right. I don't know how much he would have gained on that. And he had the in-cutting route on the left-hand side. I believe it was Gibson on that side. Not that he'd necessarily be your first look either, but I'm pretty sure Garrett was at the top of the screen clearing out the defense for Gibson. I don't know. I don't know if Adams necessarily does everything great here. Be super frustrating if he wasn't getting the ball. Green and White Militia says, Ryan to the rescue again for a long-ass drive. Enjoy your work night. Zorless says, Lazard should have been the last read on that pass. I agree. I think he should not be the primary on any of our plays. It's far too detrimental to have him drop the ball. I mean, even the beautiful no-look pass from Zach, it took 3 bobbles for Lazard to catch that. And I'm pretty sure if you count each one of those bobbles as a reception, Lazard has more completions on that one play than he has like the last 2 weeks. It's what it feels like. Jets Gang says, we might need to play Brownlee. I would like to see Brownlee out there, especially once we're already mathematically eliminated. And Jet says, we could have had Wilson with Addison, Njigba, or Flowers. Jackson Smith-Njigba would have been the teammate of Garrett Wilson from Ohio State. Would have been fun to bring them in. That was a very reasonable pick at that point in time. Lots of Jet fans thinking that's exactly where we were going to go. Did not go that way. Very frustrating. Baconhawk says this season is copy-paste from last season. The plan was for Rodgers. This is the backup plan. Yeah. The whole plan was to say, hey, look what we did last year with Zach. Let's do the exact same thing, but with Rodgers. That was the whole play. Getting Lazard, getting Cook, those were all secondary. We thought we were going to have Corey Davis. We thought we were going to have Hardman when we signed him. The Jets thought they were going to have all these different things with Rodgers. So with just minimal pieces moved around and shuffled, you're bringing in a stud quarterback to lead a team that was a quarterback away last year. We literally just caught the worst break possible. Worst break possible. Joe says, Ryan, every throw from Zach was a first read. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of it has been. I think part of that is the offensive line. Part of that is just Zach not being able to diagnose a defense. So he's a problem. I don't think he was the only one yesterday. Like, the Jets should have won yesterday based on everything that happened on the field. We just shit the bed. Legend says Jordan Love has over 8 touchdowns this year. Zach has 5 all year. No way Zach is better than Love. No, he has not been. It's hard to argue Zach Wilson's better than any quarterback at all. Sneakers to Boot says, our chance to get to the playoffs is to see if the AFC East implodes. Yeah, you need to have Buffalo lose tonight. You got to have Buffalo lose to the Jets next week. You got to have Miami sleeping on the Jets, and then all of a sudden we beat them on Black Friday. And then you start thinking, you're like, okay, if the Jets can go on a little bit of a run here, if we get 2 of the next 2 games against division rivals, and it knocks Miami down to, what are they, 6-3 right now? So they've got a game next week. Is it Dallas they're playing? They got a tough schedule the rest of the way out. I don't know who they play next, though. But either way, the Jets do kind of control our own destiny to some degree if you take care of the division rivals. I think the AFC East is only going to send one team to the playoffs, and I think there's a good shot it's going to be the Bills or the Dolphins. Well, it's high likelihood. It's going to be the Dolphins or Bills because the Jets and Patriots are clearly nowhere near. Stupid comment, Ryan. Stupid comment. Douglas says we need to hire Gase at the recommendation of we hired Gase at the recommendation of Manning and Hackett to lure Rodgers. Can we stop basing offensive play callers on the quarterback position? So quarterback's opinions. So yes, but at the same time, I'd rather have Hackett here with Rodgers than not have Hackett and have Zach plus someone else. Like, I don't know what other, like, it would have been Derek Carr. I mean, we had already had Hackett by the time we started flirting with Carr. Or would we have gone with a different offensive coordinator? Or would we have never gone with Hackett at that point? I don't know. I really want Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator from the Lions. I don't think the Jets should fire Saleh. I don't think Rodgers would allow it either. He came to New York in part because of Saleh. We're just in a holding formation. That's what it really feels like. And yeah, I'd like to make concrete decisions on our coaches without the help of Hall of Fame quarterbacks. All right. Let's switch over to the call-in portion. We are going to put the link in the chat. Once I find it, where'd it go? There we go. I'm going to pin that comment in there. You guys can call in. Boom, there we go. So you can either scan the QR code or click the pin comment in the chat. All right. First up, where's my mouse? Running into this. All right. We have Lassell. Lassell,
hey.
Welcome to the cockpit.
Okay. Yeah, hello, man. How you doing?
Hanging in there. How you feeling after yesterday's loss?
I am hating my sports life right now. I will admit. I will admit I hate my sports life right now. My team, the offense sucks, and I saw you in the AFC roundtable, and I understand what you're saying about like Aaron Rodgers, like he wouldn't want Robert Saleh to get fired or whatever, but I'm just looking at this whole mess, and I'm like, it's just been a full on cycle the past like 5 years, and at some point you're gonna have to like start to like try to change something. Like I look back to I wasn't born. I was born, but I was like a toddler. But I remember learning about what they did with Tony Dungy when he went on the Colts. He was traded to the Colts or something like that, something close to that. And they were literally telling him, "Hey, we already got a great offense. All you need to do is work on the defense. Our defense has not been good." And he went in there and he got him a ring because of their defense, because of his thing on defense and not touching the offense. And I'm just saying, why can't we do that with this team? Why can't we just fire Robert Saleh and then just tell like a guy like Ben Johnson, like, hey, we already got the defense. The defense is already good. You don't need to do anything to that. But the offense, fix that.
Look, I would love to see that. I would love to see them pull the plug on an offensive coordinator and bring in a legitimate offensive coordinator. And I don't think there's any way they're moving on from Robert Saleh for anyone with Rodgers here. Like, the only way that Rodgers or the only way that Salah's gone is if Hackett is our head coach. And I don't want any bit of that either.
Oh no, I don't want that either. I be dead ass. I don't want that. I don't want either. I just saying we're gonna wait another year of our defense's like talent, their prime, their contracts. Are we really gonna do that?
Well, what's the other alternative? I mean, you're stuck, right? Like it's Zach, but it's not even like Zach's not even like the biggest problem right now. We're causing so many penalties. You can't win a game when you have 8-9 penalties. You just can't win.
Yeah, no, like he is not the big issue. I still would want, if we're going that way, to go and get another like rookie quarterback, mainly Michael Penix. Like Michael Penix, he looks like not only does he have the talent, but he's a leader, bro. He's a leader.
I do want to look at quarterbacks.
They rally behind him.
I'm interested in the quarterback class.
They rally behind him, bro.
There's like 8 quarterbacks that could be coming out in this draft that would be top 2 picks. I would be interested to see if the Jets are going to pull the trigger on one of them.
Yeah, hopefully we do. Hopefully. But
fingers crossed, Lasco. Thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected. Where's my chicken? Try it again. One more time. Come on, chicken button. Where did you go? Where's my damn chicken? Hold on. There we go.
You're out of here.
Doing it the right way. All right. We've got Chris from the show. Chris, how you doing?
Yo, what's going on, everyone? I still need everyone to stand up. We have not lost faith. This game is not over. The season's not over. JETS, guys. We're going to get this. Ryan, disappointing loss. I agree with you. You can't put it all on that particular game, all on Zach Wilson. Some ball handling control, maybe. First looks, maybe. But he did drive us all the way. You clearly saw that Zach did feel the pressure, I feel, about after everyone was talking about what happened against the previous game with the Chargers. I think Zach really felt that pressure of like there was real deep talk of, hey, maybe we should look into pushing other quarterbacks or looking to see who's available and everything like that. I mean, the report even that Carson Wentz was declined by the Jets, it makes me think like maybe they had to sit down and be like, Zach, we really need you to like put this together and script. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
hold on, your audio's feedbacking.
It's gonna jack me up.
My bad, bro.
No, it's all good.
Look.
Sorry, still feedback.
I'm gonna mute myself so that way you don't hear anything.
All right, cool. So I'll start talking, then I'll give you the floor again. Look, can you say whatever your question was? I totally lost my train of thought in that little process. I had thought and it's gone.
It's cool. My question was simply, do you feel like what happened after the Chargers game, we both agreed that Zach did have some mistakes, but do you really feel like Zach was mentally in the game during the Raiders, or do you think he was still kind of like not into it? My process of thinking is he had a real sit down with the coaches after the Chargers game saying we could have won this game because of you. And he was trying to put in that pressure, hence him running for that touchdown. What do you think really happened like after the Chargers game? What do you think the talk will be with Zach Wilson after this game?
Well, I think it was cleaning up a lot of problems. Like, I don't think Zach was really the issue with yesterday's game. I do want to see him use his legs more. I love watching the kid run. He's really fast. It's a weapon. I don't understand why we don't utilize that more in the offense. I'd love to see a little bit of RPO action. I do think he still has the highest ceiling of any of the quarterbacks we could put out there right now. And look, Zach made some really nice throws. He had a bomb to Garrett Wilson before the final Hail Mary. I think it was the drive before. It might have been the play before the interception. And you got to come up with big plays and big moments. And it feels like we just can't quite do that. We can't get out of our own way. I think the message to Zach should be, let it rip. Just go out there and let it rip. At this point, it doesn't matter. We got a 3% chance of making the playoffs. There's no shame in doing that at this point. Chris from Florida, thank you so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit. That chicken.
That's it! You're out of here!
Having a rough time tonight. Rough time tonight. All right. We're going to go over to Charles. How you doing tonight?
Good. My dad and I, we watched the game together yesterday, and he was disgusted with the Jets' performance. He is not a fan of Robert Saleh at all. Look, he's not upset with Zach Wilson other than, he was with the interception, but he really wasn't upset with Zach Wilson last night. Look, I understand there's a lot of Jet fans that can't stand Zach Wilson. I'm not saying he hasn't had his own fault, but I don't think he was the problem this year. I think the problem this year has been the veterans, the quote-unquote savvy veterans that we brought in, not doing their jobs, and certain players not being able to stay healthy. And Nathaniel Hackett's got to get better with his play calling, because his play calling, some people say it's not the play calling. It definitely is the play calling.
Tell me why we're running behind the right-hand side of our line when all our healthy players are on the left-hand side.
Your question is as good as mine, buddy. I don't know why they call. My dad and I were not crazy about trick plays. The Jets were moving the ball, and the Jets go for a fucking trick play, and I'm just like, dude, what the fuck?
Dude, sometimes you gotta get a little creative. I don't hate the trick play. I just hate that Garrett Wilson had to throw the trick play with a bum arm.
That's what I'm saying. But the thing is, I understand getting creative, but sometimes I think people do trick plays for stupid reason. I think that was a stupid reason, because Garrett Wilson hurt his hand. Granted, he was still running around catching passes because he's a freaking stud. He's one of the best receivers in the game. But it's like, if you're gonna make him throw with his left hand.
Don't be silly. Look, ultimately, it sucks because when we were watching the game last night, we were like, oh man, we are within Zuerlein's range right now. There's enough time right now.
And Zuerlein has been amazing this year.
It might be like, hey, why don't we kick it instead of getting to the point where we're throwing that interception? Like, that's legitimately where we were as a fan base. And then you're just like, okay, I trust our defense to at least give us enough of a stop, and I trust getting into field goal range with Zuerlein to try and kick a game winner rather than going for what should be easier and getting the touchdown and calling it a day. But man, I just have no faith in this offense to move the ball. It's play calling, it's penalties, it's lack of execution. It is Zach missing reads, the interception. He had someone wide open on the left-hand side. I believe it was Gibson.
I don't know why we give up on the run, too. We should not be able to give up on the run. We should we're supposed to be more of a running team. We're not running the ball as much as we should. Oh, man, this team is making me frustrated. Hopefully we find a way to beat Buffalo next Sunday. I'm going to be at my friend's house.
Dude, Buffalo doesn't look too hot right now.
The AFC East has been terrible lately.
It's surprising how, Miami doesn't have a win against a team over 500. The Jets have beaten some really good teams, but then have also looked awful against bad teams. And then you have the Bills, who just seem to underperform. Like, Josh Allen's going to Josh Allen. And he can win you the game single-handedly, but he could also implode and screw you over just the same. So I think the Jets do have a shot next week. Charles, you have been ejected from the cockpit.
That's it! You're out of here!
I think my chicken is jet lagged from Vegas right now. I wasn't even in Vegas. I'm a Bean. How you doing tonight, brother?
I am so pissed off. I got a whole bunch of things I got to somehow get in 3 minutes. So I'll try to
Let's
get as
go.
much
Let's
as I
hear
can.
it.
I've been holding this in for since last night. But first, listen, about Zach, it's been said and done. We already know he's bad. He can't elevate a team. We already know that. I'm moving past it because it'll be a disservice to ignore all the other problems at this point. Because if we're blaming everything on Zach, then we're not fixing the rest of the issues where we'll still be here when Rodgers is back. So. First thing, the veterans. Uzama, he played okay with the Bengals. What happened? He put chemicals in his hair, just lost it or something.
He just fell apart. I don't know what happened. Even last year, I didn't hate Uzama.
No, he's supposed to be a red zone target and just a simple body blocker, nothing more major, but just he's making critical errors, and coaching is for pre-snap penalties, but that stuff, that's just general player acumen and veteranship. Michael Carter, I don't know, I remember you were pissed off at first when we drafted Breece Hall, but man, Michael Carter, just ever since Breece Hall came in, he stunk. third.
Dude, I don't know what happened to Michael Carter. He turned into
got
a
some
pumpkin
competition
immediately after his rookie year.
Yeah, because he got competition and he just kind of lost and he stopped working at it. So the next thing is just what was like the play calling. You start from SNY, like it's Hackett is coaching so scared because he's so afraid to like open things up, and we could see it. Like we're always running off second and long, and oh yeah, this is the other thing. Why is Zach ever since the Denver game, Zach's our leading rusher? Think about that. And they're not stacking the box. We can't say that anymore. They're not. They're just he's running into a pile, and we're not making our blocks. Like it's we have Brees Hall, who's an awesome runner and he's a home run hitter and he's strong too. He can push a pile. We can't get any push on the line. They stop him like a yard, 2 yards short. And then that penalty killer, it's just insane. Listen, I'm not a solid truther, but at the same time, give him a quarterback and see what he can do because the guy who in Texans who's Salah's underling, people love him, but he's a defensive guy. His team's giving up 50 points a game, but he had CJ Stroud. And to the Texans, how lucky can they get? They didn't even want him. They wanted the other guy, but they couldn't draft him because they were second. So they lucked into him. They have a GM that has drafted so awful that they wanted him out and he lucked into him. It's like when Andrew Luck was saving Chuck Pagano's life. He was an awful coach and then an awful GM, but they got the court. It's like that's how much a quarterback can change everything. They have their whole team is crap. Like it's that. And if I love Green Bean, but if I hear we need to draft either a safety or a linebacker in the first round, I'm gonna lose my shit. It's wide receiver, O line. Like that's our biggest needs. Like I know Green Bean loves the linebackers and the safeties, but damn it, fifth or later. Like it's just I'm pissed, man. I am pissed.
Dude, it's frustrating. Lima Bean,
we're
thank
not
you
that
so
bad.
much for the call.
You're out of here.
Oh, I just booted whoever was behind you by mistake. Whoever was just on the line. Hang in there for sure. Look, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. There's a lot of things. I would say offensive line is my first priority. I will be taking a very hard, long look at the quarterbacks in this draft. I don't think the Jets are going to pull the trigger on one in the first, but I think there's an outside shot that they wind up moving on from Huff and they get an additional pick, or they trade down and wind up with a pick that might be within range for a quarterback. There's like 8 really good quarterbacks that could be coming out this year, and the Jets would be foolish if they're in position to get one they like and miss on it or pass on it. You got a 40-year-old quarterback in Aaron Rodgers coming off an Achilles injury. I don't think you can afford to not have someone in the wings. Jake, welcome to the cockpit.
Ryan, how's it going, man?
I'm hanging in there. I'm not happy after yesterday's loss.
Yeah, me either, man. Honestly, like everyone has basically, we all sound like broken records at this point. I mean, we just it's a horrible position to be in with this team. We had high hopes, and it's just ever since Rodgers, man, it just fell apart. And honestly, like I was literally screaming at the TV about Uzama. Like this guy just needs to freaking be benched, bro. Like I'm so serious. Like the first call, I was like, all right, take him out. Like it's just sit him down. And no, they left his ass in.
Michael Carter gets the chop block, and he doesn't see the field again. Do it to Uzama too. Do it to Lazard.
Yeah. Do it. You just have to show discipline with this team, man. Like they get away with that shit, and it's just, sorry. It just bothers me. And like the Jets, like I can't even explain like the pain with this team. Like I think the best way I can explain it to anyone that's not a Jets fan is like dating a girl that like cheats on you constantly, but you keep giving her second chances because she's saying she'll change, and it doesn't happen. Like it just doesn't. It's the same thing every year with this team, and it's just so frustrating. Like I can't fathom just like what is happening with the Jets right now.
Dude, it's a kid putting their hand on the stove over and over again. It's yes. The roommate that's always complaining about having bad roommates, and it winds up always being like, oh, don't you think it's some inward reflection you might be the bad roommate? That's what it feels like.
That's what it's bad, man. And like it's like the defense is so it's just so sad to see where this team is headed. Like I don't even want to make the playoffs. As shitty as that sounds as a fan, like why would we? I mean, just the way this team has been playing, we're just gonna first round exits, just I don't even know what we draft, bro. I mean, probably offensive lineman, right?
The rest of the year. That's what I want to do. I don't care. Like I don't give a shit about draft position. I would love to like knock Miami out of the 1 seed. Like get Buffalo into the playoffs and just like spit on Miami's parade. That would make me feel pretty good. Or like,
yeah,
lose to the Patriots at the end of the year and they miss out on a quarterback they desperately wanted, or they have to give up a bunch of picks to go get the guy they want. Like that's sort of where my season's at right now. And Rodgers saying he might come back middle of December. Get the frig out of here. I do not want to see that at all. At all.
No, me either. I'm exactly like that. I just there's no point, man. You're just gonna have to restart for next year, and just hope for the best, And speaking of the Bills, man, they actually aren't playing that guy. I had to give him the background. They're playing all right.
I'm keeping an eye on it right now. I don't want to say they're not playing well, but they don't look great right
now. No, they. But anyway,
so
I just wanted to rant to you,
Jacob,
man.
we got a shot at the division. We still got to play Buffalo once. We got to play Miami twice. We got to play New England once. That's 4 wins
and that's
there.
the thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, and that's I mean, I would hope. And honestly, like, the way the defense plays, like, it could be, like, who knows, right? I mean, who freaking knows? But just the offense is horrible, man. It's a laughing stock over here.
Jacob! You have been ejected from the cockpit. We got Jay, then Matt, then Patrick, then Jets Nation. I want to jump over to Blitzkrieg real quick. He says, as much as Aaron likes Zach, Aaron knows the position. Doubt he will have an issue with us drafting a quarterback after offensive line and wide receiver are addressed. Yeah, like if you go into the offseason and you get David Bakhtiari, his best buddy at tackle, I think he'll be tickled pink with him as one of the solutions for offensive line. I think wide receiver, if you get either Devontae Adams, which I don't think would be a great move just because I think you might have to give up your first-round pick for him unless you could work out some other type of trade. But you got to get some type of wide receiver. I've been saying Mike Evans, T. Higgins, someone that's a free agent that you got to pay money to. I'd rather burn Woody's money than give away some draft assets for a controllable 4 or 5 year player. After that, if you head into the offseason and you get your tackle and you get your wide receiver, especially if you could find some way to retain Becton on a not so huge contract, then at least you have some options. The first round pick, I think it should be offensive line. The third round pick, I think it should be wide receiver. And then if you don't have an extra pick because of any trades or anything that you wind up doing, you're going into the fourth round. That's when I'd start looking at some high upside guys. But man, I would love to have a second round pick in this draft, because if you could have a high second round pick, I think you're going to get a good quarterback. Or you trade down and you allow this rookie quarterback to sit under Rodgers for 2 years, but you have the 5th year option as the fallback. I don't know. I would not have said the Jets are looking at a quarterback this year, but I think it's going to get interesting pretty quickly here. All right, I've got Jay on the line. Jay, how you doing tonight, brother?
What's going on, boss?
Dude, it's been a brutal run the last few weeks. How are you feeling about where we stand right now?
It doesn't surprise me, to be honest. I kind of feel like it was like the same thing as last year. A lot of our wins feel like they're lucky, rather than us actually like getting the team. And I know people are like, oh well, luck, whatever. But like the Giants win and a few other wins, they don't feel like we truly won the game.
Yeah, the Giants game, the Eagles game, we kind of lucked into. Buffalo was a very lucky game.
Yeah. Like we can easily have one win this season. But it is what it is. I'm not really surprised. You have Zach. I'm sorry to all those people that actually think Zach has made improvements or whatever. Zach sucks. And we just have to understand and just realize that and accept it. He's hot garbage. He has no awareness. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I feel like every time he gets touched, man, he fumbles the ball, and it's scary, to be honest. And he'll be in the pocket or he'll be running, and it's like he doesn't feel anybody around him. He doesn't have any type of sense. It's weird. And I understand the stadium's loud. There's a bunch of men running around you, so you don't really know. But it's kind of scary how he just doesn't know, for the most part, like somebody's behind him about to just rip him a new one. But yeah, he sucks. We have to move on from him. I say we draft a quarterback. I agree with you. Go sign Mike Evans. We don't have time to draft a rookie receiver. We have Rodgers for 2 more years, and that's it. So we don't have time to sit there and we saw what happened with Green Bay when they drafted rookie receivers. He just doesn't have the patience for that shit, especially at this age. So I would say go sign Mike Evans, throw the bag at him. play Rucker a little bit more. Obviously, a lot more. Um, and yeah, and shore up that offensive line. Let's make a run for it. If we had Rodgers right now, I have no doubt. Rodgers is quarterback. I have no doubt we're on top of the AFC. No doubt in my mind.
Dude, I don't think the penalties are there either. I don't think Rodgers stands for it. I think he steps in and he is the de facto OC.
I also feel like a lot of those players, and I'm not trying to like cover up for them, but I just feel like there's even more pressure on them to overachieve to make up for Zach, and I feel like they're trying to be super supportive. But I know you're gonna cut me off, but it's always a pleasure, and thank you,
dude. Thank you so much for the call in. I think you made a lot of great points. You have been ejected from the cockpit. All right, we got Matt joining the show. Matt, how you doing tonight, brother?
Terrible, actually.
That good?
Don't think I could be any worse. Let me be frank about it. Oh my gosh. The season's dead. The Jets season is dead. Over. Last night went up in flames. This has been a slow, torturous death. But here we are. You lost the game to the Chargers where we were just outright embarrassed. All right. Could have maybe come back last night, fixed things, got him back on track, going to these 2 games with Buffalo, with Miami coming up, and still had a shot at the division. I'm sorry, at this point, I think the Jets have absolutely zero chance of making the playoffs. It's over.
I mean,
for me.
When the Raiders scored a touchdown, did you think there was any way that we would overcome that?
Absolutely not. And Evan Roberts said it very well today when the Jets
touched right?
when Evan Roberts today said on the fan that I'm sorry, excuse me. When the touchdown was called back on the Jets on the Azama holding, that's when you knew there was no way they were scoring again. That was it. That was the one chance that you knew they were not scoring a touchdown after that one got called back. No chance.
Yeah, no, that was as soon as that got called back, I was like, well, we're not scoring a touchdown. As soon as they scored a touchdown on their side, I was like, well, we got to pack it in. There's no way we're going to be able to like keep pace with these guys. Like, that's what is so friggin' bonkers about this whole thing. It doesn't make any sense that the Jets can't overcome a 1 touchdown deficit. Like, it feels like a completely too tall mountain to climb for us.
Right. It might as well be a 50-point game when the other team put a touchdown against us. And I mean, for it to be a, 3rd string tight end catching that ball on 3rd down over who, I don't even know who the corner was on that play, but just catching it over his head like that for the touchdown for them, I was like, this is poetic justice. The Jets deserve this. Like, we can't score for our lives. We do everything wrong as far as penalty. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. It's absolutely insufferable watching this.
Did you
team.
think we'd see a worse offense than Adam Gase 2020?
Oh my God. When you put it that way, wow.
Unreal. Dude, there's no way. If you told me like, hey, yeah, you guys got Adam Gase, you know what you saw the last 2 years? Pfft, you hadn't seen nothing yet.
Hold I'd my beer.
What? Like, no way. We've had 5 years of puke. Longer than that. I mean,
here's
since 2015.
Real quick, I know you got to go. Real quick.
For it.
You said earlier in the show, when did we get a real offensive coordinator? Well, we said the same thing about LaFleur. Now we have Hackett. I know he failed in Denver, but I mean, who is that guy? We had Brian Schottenheimer. When does it happen? When do they finally find a guy that can play or call some creative plays? Thanks, bro. Great stream.
Dude, Matt, thanks so much for the call. You have been ejected from the cockpit. When are we going to get a good coach? Tell you what, it's not going to be in the next year. Hackett's going to be our OC definitely through next year. It's going to be longer if Rodgers is here, but it'll hurt a lot less if Rodgers is the quarterback at least. Jet Nation joining the show. Jet Nation, how you doing tonight?
Hey man, I'm all right. I don't think Zach played really that bad last night. I'm really gonna be honest. Besides the fumble, but Brees really wasn't getting anything at all. I seen like 2 good runs from Dalvin. Those were good, and the momentum killed when he intercepted that ball right to the defender, bro. That hurt us so bad. And plus him running out of bounds, stepping on the line too. it was ridiculous, man. Defense they do their thing already, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think we need to get Mike Evans because I think whether he's open or not, he drops too many passes, bro. It's
Mike Evans.
ridiculous. Yeah,
Really?
Mike Evans. He drops too
Which
many passes.
is there someone you want to target in free agency? Like wide
I'm
receiver
gonna be
wise?
honest. I was looking into the draft. I was looking at
Mm.
Rome Odunze. He
So
plays for
there's a lot
Washington
of
State.
really good wide receivers coming out this year. I think they
Yeah,
were saying there might be 20 receivers taken before day 3, so rounds 1 through 3. I would be cool with
I was looking
I'm
at.
fine with waiting on receiver till the 3rd round and going with a free agent option. Whether it's Mike Evans just sort of fits the year time span that I want. I feel like he's going to get a 2 or 3 year contract.
Mhm.
T Higgins, I feel like you might have to commit 5 years to.
Yeah, I was looking at him because his physique, he's built like AJ Brown. He's able to
Mm-hmm.
get physical. If Rogers throwing the ball to him, he's able to find a way to catch it and hold it in. And
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be a great receiver for Rogers, especially next to Garrett Wilson too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to go either for Hunter Renfro too. He ain't really that bad of a receiver
Oh,
either.
come on. I don't
Them
want to see
two-
Hunter Renfro. I don't want Hunter. I want
What?
Gibson to be our slot. I don't want to see Hunter Renfro. Hunter
Oh,
Renfro has
no.
been balding since he's like 24 years old. He's like 100 years old in a 28-year-old body.
Yeah, dude. And the dumbest shit last night, excuse my language, we was running on the right side where Matt
Ugh.
Crosby, that
Mm-hmm.
was the most powerful side. Why didn't we run to the left with Brees, bro?
Dude, makes
Why
no
couldn't we?
sense. Our whole right side of our offensive line is injured. Oh, their best defensive
Yeah,
player is right there as well. Let's run right at him.
yeah.
Not to the weak side. Not that way.
I wanted to yell at Solomon, man. Like, what are we doing, bro? What are we
Dude,
doing? And it's crazy.
I don't know the answer because it feels like Rodgers has us by the balls. I feel like Rodgers is the reason we did not bring in a quarterback earlier because he wanted to play hero ball, and Douglas was like, "Oh, I trust Zach. Look where we were when we had a healthy team. If we just make it through the season, Rodgers will come back. It'll be this whole fairy tale ending. Woody doesn't have to spend more money. I don't have to trade any draft assets." And then, you're hamstrung by the players that he needed to have here. You're hamstrung by the offensive coordinator you needed to have here. And
Thank you so
just,
much, man. Robert Tyler, he needs to also get tough, man. That's all I gotta say, bro.
he
Robert
does.
Tyler got to more. Yes,
Jet
he does.
Nation, you've been ejected
You're out of
from the
here.
cockpit. I got Kieran, then Complete Lawn Care, then Lima Bean coming up again. Hennessy drops in, says, we thought LaFleur was bad, but Nate hack shit. So I never thought that LaFleur was necessarily bad. I thought he was too rigid in his personnel decisions. So not playing certain players when I think they deserved playing time was a bigger knock I had on LaFleur. I thought his schemes were actually pretty good. I felt like we were getting open, and by having quarterbacks like Flacco and Johnson and White have massive games for the Jets, it made me feel like it was more of a quarterback issue than anything else. With Hackett, I don't have as much faith in the play calling, but at least he is kind of adjusting snap percentages. Like, Uzama is not playing as much as he was initially. We are seeing more Ruckert. We are seeing a little less targets thrown Lazard's way now. We are seeing Gibson. They moved off Hardman. There's these little things that I do find as some weird form of positivity, I guess, by having Hackett here, but the play calling's just been so bad. I would take LaFleur's play calling with Hackett's everything else. Figure that out, and I feel like we've got some sort of a makeshift offense here. We got Kieran coming in. Kieran, how you doing tonight? Kieran says you are muted. Kieran going once. Kieran going twice. Oh, I see you now. I just got to unmute yourself. There you go.
Hey, man.
How you doing tonight, brother?
We're good?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. I'll get into it with you, man. That was a slow-burning dumpster fire last night, and yeah, not fun. But I want to talk to you and get your take and diagnose what you think the overarching problem is on offense, right? We hear a little bit of everything. Zach sucks, offensive line sucks, play calling sucks, and then we've got some veterans that aren't doing their job. If we had to pick one thing that's the biggest thing what would you say that is? Because I watch it and like sometimes Zach plays all right, but then the offensive line sucks, and then sometimes things are meshing and it's like we're running up the middle, getting 2 yards when we should be passing, right? So I guess in summary, what do you think is the overarching problem if you had the magic wand that you would fix?
I think the one thing that would be the fastest fix for where we currently are right now that would have helped us would have been a change to the play caller right off the bat. Like I feel like Hackett has been hamstringing us in some capacity, but that's not in its entirety. Like Zach has made it tough on us where we don't feel comfortable having him throw in certain situations. And like for me, I feel like it's just like, hey, Hackett, just let it rip. Like who gives a shit at this point? So for me, it's between Zach and Hackett overall on the season. Injuries have been an issue. Penalties have been a real big issue. Those are things that injury you can't really control. But as far as penalties go, I think that's more of a lack of discipline, which would fall on the coaching. So that does fall on Hackett again. There is some personal responsibility for it. I think it probably doesn't happen as frequently if you have a quarterback back there that can hold the team accountable. And I don't think Zach, based on his play, can at least do that for the penalties and that sort of situation. He doesn't seem like he can lead the team as much as he can just be the quarterback of this team. So overall, it's a combination of a lot of things. I feel like the receivers are good enough to be able to win. I feel like the offensive line should be good enough based on the amount of time that Zach has had to throw recently that a smart or decisive quarterback should have at least been able to have some success here. So for me, it's Hackett and Zach. It's not one particular thing overall. And then, we need an offensive lineman. We need another wide receiver. Joe Douglas knew we needed another wide receiver. Even with Corey Davis here and even with Hardman here, they tried to go out and they tried to get Odell Beckham Jr. They were calling about Devontae Adams. They were calling about Mike Evans. They clearly know receiver is an issue, but there's separation that our receivers are getting is not the worst in the league compared to some other pretty elite wide receivers. We just don't have the quarterback that can hit the windows needed to hit with that level of separation that they're currently getting. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I would say Hackett and Zach are the two in particular. Zach is the one you can bench because you're kind of stuck with Hackett until Rodgers is gone.
Gotcha. Okay. I know we're at time. One quick last question.
Sure.
Who do you think has been the bigger problem here? If we had to keep one going into next year, who do you keep, Saleh or Douglas? I both think they're great, but if you had to keep just one, who would you keep?
I would keep both of them, honestly. I think Douglas is not the issue. If you had told he is an issue as well. There's some he shares in some of this blame. Not having a backup quarterback, even though I thought it was a fine idea to roll with Zach as the backup. You banked on you took a gamble on Rodgers staying healthy like he always has through every season. So you sort of have this like, well, we rolled the dice. The percentages say there's a 90% chance that Rodgers is going to stay healthy all season. Well, we hit that 10%. Like you bet half your money on black, you bet half your money on red, and you spun the wheel and it wound up on green. That's what happened. Just a real shit situation. So I think both are back. I don't think we're going to lose anyone of meaningful importance. I think Zach may be the guy that has to fall on a sword this year because Hackett's not going anywhere. Just a guess. I don't know if it's all on Zach to be the one that has to fall on that sword, but I think that's ultimately who's going to be the sacrificial lamb at season's end. Kieran, you've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, we got Lima Bean back joining the show. Lima Bean, how you doing tonight?
I was still pissed off. Sorry, normally I don't do a double take. I'm still pissed off, man. I just have more questions, and now 3 minutes is just not enough. Like I was considering,
Let's
like,
go.
give me
Let's hear it.
just first of all, I want to ask you something. Like, I mean, JD and Sal, like, I like them. They're our best GM we've had in God knows how long. But I really wonder if there's like a front office thing when Rodgers went down 4 snaps and they're like, "Fuck it, this year's over. We're not going to invest too heavily." And like that's why like they didn't go crazy in the trade deadline, other than Adams, because Adams would have been here for Rodgers in the future. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm pissed. That's my question there. And I'm pissed off. And I mean this in the best way possible. I'm pissed off at Corey Davis. Not that he retired, but his timing for retiring. If you're going to retire, retire. You waited till preseason when we're already like committed to all these. Like, we could have done things at free agency differently if that's the case. Like, that's just the most infuriating thing. And not even early preseason, like week 3 preseason. Like, just what the hell?
My only gut feeling with Corey Davis is that I think he knew he was going to retire, and he was playing it out to a point of, hey, I'll stay here if I'm going to be here. If they're going to cut me, just let me retire and ride off into the sunset and kind of hold my head high.
It sounds like he just wanted some preseason checks, man. Like he was going to retire. You retire early. Like, why would you actually show up to preseason if you're going to retire?
Well, because I think he wanted to be on this team if he was going to be on this team. And I do think he would have been wide receiver too. I thought he was wide receiver too, but it seemed like the Jets were trying to kind of move off from him. His contract wasn't guaranteed. So there was a real shot he was going to get cut and have to move or have that kind of disgrace as well.
But isn't that like a prick thing to do? Just that's the reason why you retire instead of actually retiring because you just feel like it's your time?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's frustrating from a fan perspective, but from an NFL perspective, dude, your contracts are not guaranteed. Your body is just a fucking chess piece. You're a cog in the machine.
Like, I get that. That's why I don't harbor ill feelings for him retiring. It's just, it was so suspect when he did it because it really hamstrung us. And I'm also wondering about, like, I hear rumors that the Johnsons didn't want to spend any more money, and that's why we didn't get this, and this, and this. Like, we're a cap sport that has a almost like a socioeconomic, like, they're not going into their, like, bank accounts and putting them in the red, So like it's not like baseball.
This is all money they make on a year in, year out basis. It's not
this is money that's already set aside that's like locked in for the NFL. Like I don't know what you're gonna do unless they're gonna transfer it next year to use something big. But like it's just something. And you know what? So you wanna know something funny? The Steelers. They're 6-3.
Dude, Tomlin should be coach of the year. If it's not gonna be DeMeco Ryans, Tomlin's got to be up there.
It should be DeMeco Ryans because he's getting saved by his quarterback. But here's the thing,
Tomlin, they haven't outgained any team they played this year.
They're worse offensively than us. But you know what?
Unreal.
Their run game, and like you know what they're calling? They're calling Pickett Zach Wilson without talent.
Yes, that's what Pickett is. Pickett is Mac Jones.
Pickett is like, you know what's sad? No, but you know what's weird?
Milk.
No, he is. But like, here's the problem with Pickett. They have a run game and they can hide him. We don't have anything when it comes to running the ball. That's the most frustrating part. They could run the ball. He doesn't do anything. He has his tiny hands that he just holds his dick with. Like it doesn't.
Lima Bean, you've been ejected from the cockpit, getting 6 minutes of time. Sorry, dude. Getting you out of here. We got Dave joining the show. Dave, how you doing tonight?
Ryan, how's it going, bro?
Dude, I'm taking a whole lot of copium right now. I don't know how to get through the rest of the season without looking at mock drafts.
You see this right here? This is my luggage, man. I just got back from Vegas. Heartbroken, bro.
Dude, good for you for going out there. I was jealous. I was seeing all the pictures of everyone. I'm like, oh, it looks like so much fun. I just want to splish and splash in a monster TV pool. Incredible.
I met Fireman Ed and Jake Asman. Fireman Ed signed my hat and all this stuff, but what a heartbreak, man. I can curse, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Dude, like we could have fucking had Josh Dobbs or Carson Wentz or an actual quarterback, dude. And I'm just like, I just had you remember me. I called you during the Chargers when I was at the Cowboys Chargers game.
Oh yeah.
I'm always upbeat, and dude, this loss, we had so many chances of taking control of that game. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there in the Raiders black hole of death with all these Raiders fans talking shit, and I'm just waiting to fucking to turn it around, and we go to shit, dude. I'm gonna tell you the biggest problem is Robert Saleh, because this guy is friends with these guys. This guy stands there with his fucking arms, folded, his arms folded like an idiot. And he doesn't go off on these guys. When the guy commits it's the penalties. These guys aren't ready. These guys are like, they're not held accountable, bro. They're not held accountable. Every time there's a fucking penalty or something, he's just standing there with his fucking arms crossed. Where's the fire? All gas, no brakes, my ass, dude. Like, yes, Zach fucking sucks. Our play calling fucking sucks. We got a solid roster, bro. Like, we shouldn't lose to the Raiders and the Chargers, and it just, none of this shit makes sense to me, dude. None of this shit makes sense to me, bro.
Dude, it doesn't make any sense to me. We had shit quarterback play forever. We've had bad offensive play forever, and I feel like every year I say it can't get worse, and literally the worst third down efficiency in 50 fucking years. Worst red zone offense in 50 years. Like,
yeah.
You can't joke about it. 22% conversion rate in the red zone. The next closest team is like 34%. League average is 50.
I saw a stat that was like 36 drives without a touchdown. And I know my time is expiring. Bro, we haven't scored a touchdown offensively in over a month. I don't count that touchdown in the Giants game as a fucking, that was some lightning strikes bullshit. And in the
Dude, same
Eagles,
with Brees against the Eagles, dude. That was a gifted
yeah, they
touchdown.
gave us that. I can't even remember, bro. What was it? The Broncos? And then we only, before you kick me, the only game we won by like 10 points was the Broncos game because we got a touchdown at the end. I'll tell you one last thing. I was talking all this shit about fucking Sean Payton, dude. And you know what? He's right, bro. He was right about Hackett. He was right. Look at the direction the Broncos are going in and look at the direction we're going in. That's all I'm going to tell you, man. Thank you for having me on the show.
Dave! Thank you for representing the Jets out in Vegas. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, I am watching the Buffalo game below my screen right here. And I got Bryant on the phone next. That looks like a touchdown. That looks like a touchdown catch if I ever saw one. Holy hell, his toe is so close to the line. And the nice little drag. I think the Broncos are about to go up 10-0 on the Bills. And it's making me feel so good. I think it's entirely possible the Jets beat the Bills this upcoming week. We beat the Bills without, with them having Trey White, with them having Milano, and now they don't have either one of those guys on the defense. If the offense can get anything going, man, could you imagine you win the next 2 weeks? Like having these last two shit games, 3% chance. But then you go on like a little bit of a tear. Nothing would make me feel happier than beating Buffalo and beating Miami and be able to rub their face in it just a little bit. Oh, I can't believe you lost to us. Man, you guys really stink. I don't know. I want to win as many games as possible. I'm done with this whole draft talk. I don't want to talk about the mock offseason yet. If you have a question about it, I'll answer whatever I can on it. But, man, I just want to win some games. Brian, welcome to the cockpit.
Hey. Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. How you feeling tonight, brother?
Yeah, all right. This loss, I'm pretty badly affected by this loss as much as anyone. But I kind of wanted to call in, and I meant to call in, during the bye because this is really more an opinion I have on like the whole season rather than just this specific game. But stuff out of the way. But one thing that I haven't really seen people talk about is just the absolute failure of strategy when it comes to the season. Because look, I'm not gonna lie. Like last year, I was a big Mike White fanboy. I was
he played competent football.
He did, and I thought that we had found a guy who could sort of be like our version of sort of a Jimmy Garoppolo, sort of a guy who's not fantastic, but is good enough to carry. Because you really, there's a sort of misconception that you need super elite quarterback play to win. You don't really, but from the outset, it really did feel like that once Rodgers became available, that was really the only sort of plan that they actually had. Because
as soon as they got Hackett, it was the plan before that. I think Saleh said it around the week after the season. He didn't say it publicly, really but I think they talked about it in Hard Knocks or in an interview or something where he's like, after the season ended and we started talking a little bit, that's when we started saying wow, this could be an option.
Yeah, exactly.
So the whole plan was it was Rodgers or bust. The whole Derek Carr thing was a horse and pony show trying to get Carr more money.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't really want to be, when people were celebrating getting right, I didn't really want to be the guy who rains on everyone's parade. But, because the second he touched down in New York, it was super obvious that it was going to be his team now. He turned the whole thing into kind of a media circus and You bring in a bunch of his like friends, like Lazard and
But didn't it
who
feel
are
so
both doing.
good until the injury? It was so
Yeah,
good. I don't
yeah,
care
and
that it was a circus. I wanted the circus. I want it all. I want to be the ringleader. I want the clowns. I
yeah.
want the elephants. I want the bears on the bicycles. That's what I want. I want all the things.
No,
And they gave me the
I
cloud
feel
with
you,
the
man.
sad face and the squirty flower. That's what I got.
Yeah. I feel you, man. I know. It just felt like kind of, and I get it. It worked for like teams like the Buccaneers, who are like a really good defense. They
Dude,
brought
the
in Tom Brady
Bucks,
and won the
the
Super Bowl.
Rams, the Broncos, literally every one
Exactly.
of
Yeah.
those teams.
But
Those are
I
all
always
examples
I
within the
kinda-
last 8 years. Three within the last 8 years.
But like in my heart of hearts, when we got Rod, I kind of knew this was going to happen because he's like a 40-year-old
Brian,
guy.
No, you're out of here. No, you did not know this when Rodgers was going to happen. Get the hell out of here. Maybe it was a gut feeling because of everything always negative for the Jets always happens. That's what you're saying. Don't get me all frustrated, Bryant. You and your shenanigans. Let's take a look at the chat. Pinned comment is how you call into the show if you'd like to call in. Phone lines are open currently. Dakota says Buffalo fans are booing more. It feels good watching them right now. I wish they didn't get that missed extra point, Denver. I want to see 10 points on the board. Disinfo said JD had no contingency for the quarterback and wide receiver positions and now paying the price for it. So the contingency for quarterback was never going to be there. It was 100% a gamble on Rodgers staying healthy. And they said, you know what? We're going to take half our money. We're going to put on black. We're going to take half our money. We're going to put on red. And then lo and behold, it lands on fucking green on the roulette wheel. There's two things in the entire thing. There's like 100 buttons on that entire fucking wheel. It landed on the one it couldn't for us, and it imploded the entire season. As far as wide receiver, JD knew it was going to be a problem. He knew wide receiver was going to be a problem. He went out, tried to get Odell. Then the Ravens paid him like double what I thought the Jets were going to try and offer him. I don't know how much we poked around the DeAndre Hopkins stuff because it didn't seem like he wanted to come here, but we absolutely poked around Mike Evans. We absolutely poked around Devontae Adams more than once throughout the course of this process. So don't say the JD didn't have a contingency plan for wide receiver because we definitely did. It was one of the positions I felt comfortable at until Davis wound up retiring, and then Rodgers goes down, and then you get rid of Hardman. The whole season changed on 9/11. Kazark says Salah isn't trying to score touchdowns in the red zone. He's literally playing to secure the field goal. That's why it's historically bad. I would love to know how much say Robert Salah actually has in the offensive side of the ball, because it feels very much like a Zach and a Hackett thing. Like, hey, we just don't want you to turn the ball over. Even 3 points is better than no points because our defense is so good, we're going to prevent them from scoring points on the other side. I think Salah probably has something to do with that. The level of concern is very similar to what happened when LaFleur was here and how he called plays with Zach Wilson. I don't know. I don't think it's him having issues in the red zone. I think that's more of a Hackett thing. Jeremy, what's good, dude? He says doink for the missed extra point. James Cook, nice little run there. Right up the gut. Rounders Prime says, oh God, the elusive Mike White cultists are appearing again. Look, if the Jets didn't have Mike White as a free agent and the Jets didn't have Zach Wilson as the number 2 overall pick and you could have moved off one or the other, I think the Jets would have kept Mike White and then went after Rodgers. Because you were locked into Zach and you had all this fucking equity in him because of the draft status and egos come into play. You're supposed to be the guy that knows everything. That's why White walked out the door. He couldn't stay healthy, though. Couldn't stay healthy. Gang Green says, I feel like Salah has no leadership. Says Salah has to go. My fear is if Salah goes, I don't know how happy Rodgers is, and then I really think Hackett becomes the head coach, and I do not want to see Hackett as the head coach. Like, at all. I mean, maybe Hackett as the head coach is better because Todd Dowling maybe starts calling offensive plays, and that can't get worse than we currently are, or Rodgers is going to be the OC anyway, regardless of what happens with Hackett. I don't want to see Saleh gone. I do like Saleh, and I think he's more about coach speak and more about not throwing guys under the bus. And I think he does hold his guys accountable. I mean, look at the speech he gave at Hard Knocks about the offensive line. He fucking laid into them. That's one of the best rants I've seen. He absolutely laid into the offense. So if you're talking about Saleh not holding guys accountable, we have to know what's going on in the locker room. If the guys still value Saleh, if they still respect Saleh, then I don't think he has to go anywhere. I feel like some of the flags and some of I feel like it's Hackett. I feel like Rodgers wouldn't put up with it. I don't know. Johnny joining the show. Johnny, how you doing tonight, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? How are you holding up, man?
Dude, shit sucks. Fucking,
yeah, bro.
Being a Jet fan blows.
Dude, that game yesterday was like my season is like done. And I hate to say that even though we're 4-5, but it's these next 4 games that we got coming up. It's tough, man, because dude, Miami, the Bills, Texans are surprisingly good right now, man. They're playing for D'Amico Ryan right now. I don't know what it is about our offense because that game yesterday, you couldn't even put the whole blame on Zach. I mean, just a few weeks ago, we're like, throw the damn ball, and if you get an interception, then it is what it is, and we're just going to let that one ride. But at least you're showing us something, right? Then everybody's like, oh, he had the big interception. Now, I'm not a Zach truther at all, so I don't want you to think that because I was one of the ones from the very beginning that stated that I don't think he should have been given QB2 from the jump. I think they should have brought somebody in that would have been able to play or some kind of rookie that could develop behind Aaron and all that because, to be honest with you, dude, look what's happening right now. We don't even know what Boyle or Cherry or Simeon is doing or anything like that for us as well. So it's one of these, I'm just like, what are we doing? You know, I mean, Salah needs to hold Hackett and put him in his place and start taking those plays from him and give it to somebody else or do something to kind of go ahead and give a spark. I don't want Boyle. I don't want Simeon because, I mean, what are they going to do? Their show flashes yesterday, and I knew this was going to be the game that Zach Wilson was going to show some flashes, right? And then we're all going to be like, oh, but, you know, he still has it. See, there's a reason why he is the way he is. He was number 2, blah, blah, blah. It's just
you know what's going to kill me? When we trade Zach to fucking San Francisco in the offseason and he winds up being a franchise fucking quarterback and we go down the tubes, Saleh and Hackett get fired, Rodgers can't stay healthy next year, and it's just, fuck it, let's do it again. Let's figure it all out. Rebuild time. Hit the reset button. That's what's going to happen.
I mean, dude, this is literally this is last year all over again. We're rewatching that. I mean, we got players here that are good, dude, because we have not had a team like this that's good on the defense and on the offensive side as well. We haven't had it in such a long time, and look what's going on. And we can't even use them correctly. People are looking at us again and like, it's the Jets. You don't know what – I mean, these games we should have won, and we should have beat the team. The last 2 games that we played, we should have beat them. We went against almost dead last defense last week, and look what happened. We played against – we held Max Crosby because he wasn't disruptive in this game at all. But it's just, man, it's like, dude, I'm at that point where, like, you know, do I really want to go ahead and watch my games on Sunday and then be pissed off, right, with my family and stuff like that, or just, you know – but I can't help it, dude. I'm addicted, man, and it sucks. And that's the issue about being a damn Jet fan, dude.
It's because we're fanatics. That's what it is. Yeah. That's where the fan term comes from. And it's nuts. We don't make rational decisions at all. I threw $100 on the Jets winning the Super Bowl before we got Rodgers. I was like, it's happening. We're getting the quarterback. Fucking miracle season. I had sky-high confidence going right up until play 5 of our offensive start to the season.
Yeah, man. It's just and then CJ Uzama needs to get benched and put in Ruckert in there and give him the ball. And that dude could block. What are we doing? You know, but hey, man, it's still JETS, Jets. Keep your head up, and all of Jet Nation too, man. It will be
Johnny,
a long ride.
Thank you so much for the call. Been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, we are at 9:30 right now. We'll go for about another half hour or so if you want to get your voices heard. We're watching the Bills game. Bills have 8 points. They just scored a touchdown to Dalton Kincaid and then had a 2-point conversion after an offsides penalty by the Broncos. Allowed them to put it at the 1-yard line. They convert on a pass to Gabe Davis. This is what offense should look like, boys and girls. It's what offense should look like. Jet Up Buttercup says we moved the ball just fine the last 2 games, and then, oh, wait, the Jets aren't allowed to be in the red zone, and the flags start flying. The flags were flying before we even got into the red zone. We had 8 this week, 8 last week, 9 the week before that. What the hell did we have? Have we had like 2 red zone opportunities in that stretch of time? In those 3 weeks? I have no idea what the actual count is for offensive plays in the red zone or drives in the red zone. But it's not good. Very, very low percentage. Fucking terrible. Hater says, Ryan, love you, bro, but you are giving me Zach Truther vibes. Zach goes to San Francisco, becomes a franchise quarterback. Really sounds delusional, bro. Hold on. You realize that's tongue-in-cheek, right? What I'm saying is we can't figure out the quarterback position. We're going to send him away to the team that wanted him, wanted to trade up for him. The Jets didn't try to get the trade compensation that the Dolphins got. Jets fell in love with Zach. He's going to wind up going to Shanahan. He's going to work a miracle, and it's just going to be the Jets. You know, it's just how it works. I'm expecting Sam Darnold to be a franchise quarterback too because he's out in San Francisco. It's not that I have faith that Zach would be a franchise quarterback here. But it just feels like we don't have the right stuff. Offensive line, maybe the mix of fans and media is just too much of a pressure cooker in New York for a young quarterback to do any sort of success. Our best seasons are with older quarterbacks. That's what I'm noticing. Like aside from, Sanchez having those 2 runs where we kind of got to the playoffs in spite of Sanchez, he played well in the playoffs. I don't know. Just really sucks. Douglas says, Jets have more flags than a damn used car lot. Feels like it. Definitely feels like it. More flags than the UN. More flags than the dining hall at my old college where they hung up all the frat flags. There's a lot of flags. Like line 2 hallways. Jets got more than that. Hater says, please, every player present and past says Saleh holds everyone, except Zach, accountable. Saleh understands the modern NFL player, understands the psychology of these players. Just saying, I like Saleh. As much as there's going to be a lot of heat on him, I think he's in a really tough position where he would play a better quarterback if he had one. He would have a better offensive play caller if he could do it. Like, I really think Rodgers is hamstringing us a little in that respect. But then also, I don't know. The Jets we got to figure it the hell out. You can't keep having this consistent stopping of the offense. And I don't know. It feels like every time we get something positive going, there's some sort of boneheaded penalty. There's some sort of, I don't know. It's definitely on coaching. It's not all on Zach. But I do like Saleh, admittedly. Jingle Dub says, I dated a Swiss girl and broke up with her when she visited her hometown in Switzerland. Too many red flags. I see what you're doing there. I could tell there were holes in her story. Swiss cheese joke. Oh, Jingle Dubs, I enjoyed that. Edward Stewart said Bosa was all over the place the week before. Hey, Mitchell contained Max Crosby. Maybe he is the guy we need out on the right-hand side after all. Max Crosby is one of the best in the NFL. Did a good job protecting the quarterback from the right-hand side, for the most part. Disinfo says more penalty yardage than passing yardage. Over the course of the last 3 weeks, it might be. I mean, we've got 83, 80, and like 70, I think. Man, that is ugly with a capital ugh. UGH. Ugly. Hennessy says, yep, Zach is going to the 49ers to win 7 Super Bowls. He will be better than Brady. Man, you will see a lot of Jet fans fucking jump out of the second stories of their houses. Jerome says, put Zach in the shadow realm. Oops, wrong show. That's okay. We can send him out with an ejection. We'll do this.
You're out of here!
Oh, come on, Zach. What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? Dakota says Buffalo loses this game tonight, then loses to us. The division will be Miami's or ours. Yeah, if the Jets can find a way, if we get a little luck here, Bills fall to 5-5. Jets, look, whether we are on a cold streak or not, whether we can figure out offense or not, the Jets have had the Bills number. If the Jets can just hang around enough, I don't believe there's going to be a path to us in the wild card. I think the AFC is too loaded. I think the division, while very small percentage chance the Jets actually can keep pace with Miami or Buffalo or Houston or Cleveland or Miami again, is yet to be seen. But I think it's not totally out of it. Season isn't fully lost yet. Fully lost. It's only mostly lost. Mumtaz comes in, says, I think we should give Zach an extension while price is low. Next week, he may throw a touchdown and price goes up. Mumtaz, you're going to make me lose my goddamn mind.
That's it! You're out of here!
I hit the wrong button, Mumtaz. This is the one you were supposed to get.
That's it! You're out of here!
Zach an extension? No, absolutely not. Get the hell out of here, Mumtaz. I know you're poking fun at me. I want nothing to do with a Zach extension. Nothing to do. See you guys talking in the chat. Hennessy says, one Jets drive just going to show the defense on the next episode. Yeah, how do you hype up a team anymore? Like, the One Jets drive is very much, they do a good job with it, but a lot of it is to, push ticket sales. It's to build hype in the team and jersey sales and all that sort of stuff. How are you spinning this week to any kind of positive? Other than like, oh, well, the Jets have this, situation where they have 2 division rivals back to back. Can they right the ship? I don't know. I'm not overly optimistic based on what we're seeing. Jam says, when was the last passing touchdown? I honestly don't remember. So technically it was the Giants game. Zach threw a completion to Brees, and Brees ran it for 50 yards. The last, good one that was thrown, Zach had one, I don't know, it was definitely, he had a nice one in the Chiefs game where he zipped it in there to, I think it was Lazard. And off the top of my head, I'm not remembering the touchdowns we scored in Denver. I think Brees had one. Mumtaz says we should try Tyler Conklin at cornerback. Could have had a game-winning Hail Mary at the end of that game. Conklin knocks it down, playing defense on Garrett Wilson. Thanks, Mumtaz. What's up, Douglas? Douglas says, mistakes happen around the league. What kills us is whether it's a boneheaded Uzama holding call negating a touchdown or a Zach Wilson interception is when the mistakes occur. So the mistakes that happen for us are in such critical spots, and we already have such a thin margin of error when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. and what we need to do because of the limitations we have on Zach, the play calling, offensive line, name it. It's anything. But I'm seeing teams with worse offensive lines having success on offense. I'm seeing quarterbacks with less talent than Zach Wilson having far more success on offense. I'm seeing teams scheme guys open consistently. I don't know where Hackett learned how to call plays or design plays or maybe how to teach plays to players, but it's been very frustrating. And I like Hackett the person, but Hackett the play caller is leaving just a touch to be desired. I'm done with Uzama. I don't want to see any more Uzama. Get me out of here. Hennessy says, how don't we remember the last touchdown? Or how we don't remember the last touchdown. I mean, it's brutal. When you have to be like, okay, what was the last touchdown we scored? And which week was it? Which month was it? Was it before or after daylight savings time? Well, that's the questions we're finding ourselves having to ask. A joke, this team is. Jam says, I live in Toronto, so I see some of the games, not all. You see a lot more Buffalo games. Jam, do you check out the Every Throw video from Zach Wilson that I put up? Let me know. It's up there. Hennessy says, Ryan, how much older are you after watching that game last night? I mean, I'm definitely starting to get some gray in my beard at this point. I feel like I've aged myself 10 years the last 3 weeks. Fucking brutal. Disinfo says, we all have amnesia when it comes to trying to recall a Jet touchdown. Wild. Joe says Zach Wilson had a longer low lights video in 2022 than 2024's quarterback highlights video. Or than the 24 quarterbacks highlight video. Yeah. Right. Are you talking about the rookies that we're trying to look at? Because 24 hasn't happened yet. Maybe you meant 23. But yes, Zach Wilson, a lot more bad plays than good plays on tape. Not even close. Not even close. Did they just miss that field goal? No, they made it. All right. 12-8. Broncos on top. 45 seconds left to go in the half. Buffalo getting the ball back. Let's see if they try to do anything here at the end of the half. Dante. Hey, yo, Dante, how you doing? How you doing? He says, hypothetically, if Saleh was fired, what coach would like to revamp this team? I know this ain't happening, but it's fun thought game. So my thing is, if Saleh gets fired, it's probably Hackett that takes over because I think Rodgers wants to be with his buddy Hackett, and I do think the Johnsons and this team in general will bend over backwards to make sure Rodgers doesn't retire because it's like the last thing we could possibly have happen to us. But if I needed to have someone, I would go one of two directions. My first call, I would love to get Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator from the Lions. I think he is special. He is going to be a very, very good coach in this game. I would like to see, outside of that, I mean, maybe you start talking like Harbaugh, something along those lines. I don't know how much I necessarily want him. I think his brand of football is better served in college. I like his brother John a lot more. Josh Allen lined up in the shotgun set, 45 seconds to go. I see some spoilers in the chat, and I'm excited to see what happened. Josh Allen steps back, throws up. He is a scrub-a-dub-dub. Look at that. Look at that. He's so bad. He's such a bad quarterback. What has he got, 2 interceptions? Zach only had 1 yesterday. Zach Wilson confirmed better quarterback. Wow. Let's make it 15-8. Come on. Well, they got 37 seconds left? Something along those lines? There any timeouts for Denver? I just want to see some more points. Give them another opportunity. Let's get a Buffalo loss here. That's what I want to see. You guys let me know who you would want as a coach if it wasn't Robert Saleh. How about them Jets calling in? What's up? How about them Jets? How you doing tonight? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey Ryan, how you doing?
Dude, I'm hanging in there. It's been a fucking brutal last 24 hours.
Yeah, I've had enough with this team. I've been watching this team since the early 90s and just can't seem to have any good season with this team. It's always something. The thing with Zach Wilson is like my only concern is I feel like we're split in the fan base. Like, half the Jets fans like Zach, half don't like him. Um, my thing is we've seen him for 3 seasons now. So, at some point before the season is over, we have to decide, are we keeping Zach or, are we letting him go? Or is this like Rogers' decision on what happens with Zach?
I would be surprised if Rodgers has too big of a say in Zach. Like, for me, if they wanted to say, hey, Zach, you're going to be the third string quarterback, we want you to sit and learn behind Rodgers. Like, that is the entire goal. We're going to go out and we're going to get a backup so that way this doesn't happen to you the same way it did last year. We're not going to repeat that mistake. That being said, we're not going to exercise his fifth-year option, so it's going to be a very weird season anyway. And I do expect Rodgers to play 2 more years. So I think it's worth our while to cut Zach, bring in a veteran quarterback to back up Rodgers for the year, and draft a quarterback in this year's draft. And I would do it high. I would have no problem if it's, first round, if they wanted to make that call. I think you can get offensive linemen outside of the first round. I don't want to have to necessarily be pigeonholed into what we're picking in the first round. I don't know. What do you think? Where do you think is the appropriate time to pull the trigger on a quarterback?
I
wish we had a second round pick. That's what I wish. Like, I would trade down from the first and get more picks.
Yeah, my thing is like, I've believed in what they said in the beginning, trust the process, and I'm still trusting it to some degree. Hoping when Rodgers come back, we can actually have a productive season with him next year. But that said, Salah is not gonna go away from Zach for the remainder of the season unless he gets hurt. My concern by them being, that stubborn and not bringing in Trevor or someone else just to see, if they can at least get the team moving. I just feel like we don't have much wins left in front of us, and it's just going to be like a long second half season for the fans to, deal with.
Yeah, it's going to feel just like the season right after Thanksgiving last year, where we are just trugging along, just waiting to get through each and every game, and it doesn't feel like we're going to score many points the rest of the way out here. You mentioned the fan base being split on Zach. I think everyone's going to understand if we want to move off of him. Dude, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is, how you get it all figured out, because I would like to see Trevor Siemian in, even just for the pure thought process of, okay, if it is Zach, let's see what we can fix before Rodgers takes the field again. Like, that, I feel like, is an important evaluation that you should want to do regardless of how you feel about Zach.
Exactly. Well, you know what? Let's see what happens against the Bills, and then we'll see how this
brother.
Go. Yep.
I'll tell you what. How about them Jets? You have been ejected from the cockpit. All right, we got a little bit of time here right now. Douglas drops in with a super chat. Thank you so much, Douglas. He says, I get sick of the Josh Dobbs this, Josh Dobbs that crap. Unless you can stick him on the Jets or Zach Wilson on the Vikings, it's a pointless BS comparison. Apples aren't oranges. I will say this. I would trust Josh Dobbs more to make the correct throw based on his play that I've seen this year across 2 teams than I do trust Zach. And I don't know. I know what I've gotten out of Zach, and I know where the highs are, which is really nice, but I've also seen the lows. I think our bigger issue than quarterback is offensive coordinator right now, but I don't know how much of our offensive play calling is predicated on being scared about who our quarterback is. It's almost like a chicken or the egg sort of situation. But I don't see Josh Dobbs scoring a whole lot of points here either. I don't know. Mumtaz comes in with Super Chat, says, honestly, why can't we run? We have Brees and 3 good blocking tight ends. Even Lazard can block. Yeah, box is stacked, but Raiders had worst run D in the NFL. Because we're running at the right-hand side where all our injuries are rather than the left. Run into the strength of your offensive line. That's where you should be going. I do not understand the play calling from just a thought process standpoint. But as far as why the Jets can't block, I think it's because they don't have any passing game. They dare Zach to beat him with their arm or with his arm. And until he does it, he's not going to be able to. That's why we moved the ball up and down the field. They were like, hey, we're going to stop Brees Hall and like be damned. We'll let Zach Wilson beat us up and down the field. I think that is part of the Raiders' game plan against us this past weekend. Jingle Dubs says, why even sign Simeon in the first place? That's where I'm confused. Like, what is the point of signing Simeon other than to apply pressure to Zach? And then you're not going to make him active to then apply more pressure to Zach? Feels like a really dumb set of circumstances. Gamer says, Zach is Rodgers' son. Something's going on. There's too close of a friendship. They want to make Zach QB3 next year. I'd have to look and see how much cap space we save by actually like cutting him. Because if you don't save a whole lot and you want to make him quarterback 3 and deactivate him, go for it. Like, that's fine. Bring in a backup quarterback regardless. You just cannot roll into next season with fucking Zach Wilson as your backup again. Not as the lone one with a 40-year-old quarterback coming off a knee injury or an Achilles injury. I see a few guys in there saying draft Bo Nix. I like Bo Nix. I'm a big Bo Nix guy. I'm a big Jalen Daniels guy from LSU. I'm a big Michael Penix from Washington. There's a lot of good quarterbacks this year. Knobcraft says Bo Nix was a turd at Auburn. I was happy to see him go. Now he's out playing ball in the slack 12 because he couldn't hang with the men in the SEC. I'd have to go back and see what his issues were at Auburn. I'll admittedly tell you that I did not pay close attention to him at quarterback because I didn't think this was going to be an issue. Did not think that. Legend says, hard to run the ball when the other team knows that's what you're really going to do. And look, if we get an incompletion on first down, does everyone know what the next play is going to be? A run. So it's like downs and distances. If you can't get a first down, you're not building any chemistry. You're not building any sort of game plan where you can manipulate what you're doing, tricking the defense. You got to get first downs, and we're just not doing that on a consistent enough basis. Joe says it's Drake May, Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, mid-firsts, Daniels, Penix, second, Nix Ewers, third. So there's like probably 8 quarterbacks. What do you have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're missing possibly Sanders. I think Dion said his son was going to go back. So maybe it's 7 quarterbacks that are coming out. Honestly, I'd be fine with anyone the Jets wanted to pull the trigger on to let them sit behind Zach. If you could trade down, get a second-round pick, fall back to the end of the first, and take your quarterback before the beginning of the second round, I would do that. Maybe it's a trade down with the Raiders. Like, let's say the Jets get a really high pick and the Raiders are like, man, we really got to get our quarterback. Oh, well, hey, the Jets are sitting up there. We'll trade you Devontae Adams for you to slide back. You don't even have to give us a pick. Just let us get up there. And now the Jets are sitting at like 10 rather than, let's say we're sitting at 4 or something that is desirable for the Raiders. I would do that trade down. And then I would trade down again. And I would say, give me some picks. Get me an offensive lineman. And then let me take the quarterback when I see fit. Hennessy needs to know, did Bo Nix teammates go to his 21st birthday? Important questions to ask. Important questions to ask. Ed Stewart says, stay away from USC quarterbacks. I'll be honest, I don't know if Caleb Williams and Drake May are the two best quarterbacks in this draft. They're probably going to go 1-2, or two of them will go in the top 3, but I'm not real confident they're going to be the best quarterbacks in this class. Caleb Williams' record against winning teams is very suspect. And I struggle to see what he might be able to do if he has to play within the confines of an offense as opposed to doing the Patrick Mahomes stuff. I would not turn him away if he fell to the Jets. But man, certainly feels like USC quarterbacks are snake bitten. Dante says, why is this organization willing to fail with Zach Wilson? They don't even start Boyle, Simeon, or sign available semi-decent quarterbacks. What's going on? I would love to be a fly on the wall in that front office conversations. Like how I said office right there? I didn't intentionally do that. Boyle is not the answer. So I think everyone can agree Boyle was here just to install the offense. I think Simeon is a very questionable signing that he can't get off the practice squad. The fact that he is not quarterback 2 at this point in time and Boyle not relegated to the practice squad is a damning indictment on where the Jets decided the quarterback position needed to be. This was their, oh, hey, we'll try to fix it kind of, but we're also not investing a lot of money into it. And there's probably some like performance bonuses that Simeon has if he's on the active roster. And they probably don't want to get to that. I don't know. They just seem willing to accept it. It feels like the Jets felt like I felt on week 1. As soon as Rodgers went down, you just felt, okay, season's over. Let's plan for 2024. See what happens. Zach's going to get us the best possible draft pick we can get, but he also has the high ceiling, so we're going to win some games. Let's ride it out with our young guy and make a final determination at the end of the season. I think that's how they handled the quarterback situation. Realistically, what they should have done, they should have said, hey, we need a quarterback. Zach, you're supposed to sit a year or 2. We're going to go out. We're going to get a quarterback. Zach's going to hold it down for the Bronco game. You know, even if Zach holds it down till the bye week, we get our quarterback in at that point. They decided they were not going to spend any more money. Hennessy says, I hope Caleb and Drake may bust. They do, and they do to the Patriots and Giants. Yeah, Patriots and Giants play each other on Thanksgiving. That is going to be the ultimate tank bowl. So we want the Giants to win that game, or we want the Giants to lose that game. I guess it depends on where the Patriots are and where you think they're going to be at the end of the season, because I really don't want to see the Giants get their franchise quarterback and have to deal with them selecting the correct quarterback and us fucking floundering around with our number 2 guy. And I don't want New England to be anywhere near a quarterback. Don't want them anywhere near. Jets chaos. What's up, Jeremy? He says they are going to bench Uzoma and elevate Izzy to play in place of Michael Carter. Those are the changes. I agree. I think that's what's going to happen. I think you'll see Ruckert be the tight end. Jeremy brought up having Bawden as the tight end 3. I would agree with that as well. Unless you want to use like a bigger wide receiver as almost a tight end, I don't know. I guess you could do that. But I agree. I agree with these 2 moves. I think they're long overdue. Long overdue. Dante says, I know Mike White wasn't the long-term answer, but I bet he would move the offense. Shouldn't have let him go. I don't think the front office, I shouldn't say the front office. I don't think Robert Saleh and the players wanted to let him go. I think it was more a product of, hey, we have Zach under contract. He was the number 2 overall pick. There's egos. We're going to have to pay Mike White more money to stay here. He can go to Miami. I guarantee he took less money to go to Miami, 1, because of taxes, and 2, because he's banking on Tua getting hurt and having an elite set of weapons. That Miami team without Tua, with Mike White at the helm, is better than Mike White on the Jets over here. And if he's trying to parlay that into some kind of starting gig, it's probably the right move. It just sucks, because I would have loved to have Mike White as a perennial backup quarterback for the Jets. Really sucks. It goes to show you just how critical a bad drafted quarterback can, what it is. I mean, he got an offensive coordinator fired last year. He would get one fired this year. I don't know. I just find myself thinking to 2024, it'll be candy and sugar plums. I'm so happy. I just want to see what happiness feels like. And I feel like I can't get my hopes up. I don't even want to be excited about the offseason and the potential of 2024 because it's just going to implode in my face. That's what it feels like. Kazark says, the Boyle as number 2 is a Salah thing. Remember, Flacco is quarterback 2 no matter what last year. He swapped Zach and Mike 1 to 3 and back to Flacco was perpetual number 2. Boyle is this year's Flacco. That's interesting. I think that's an interesting way to say that. I guess number 2, you want the guy that knows the offense best, and maybe you move the guy from 3 to 1 so that way there's not as much pressure on Zach. Sort of an odd way to do it. All right, boys and girls, it has been a long, annoying night for the last 2 days. I'm going to sit and watch the rest of this Buffalo game. Hopefully we can catch a break, see these guys lose, feel a little bit better about ourselves. If you guys want to help support the channel, head over to Underdog Fantasy. You want to win a little bit of money? Because I feel like that's the only thing we can really do heading into the rest of the season from here on out. Try to win a few bucks on the backs of our lowly Jets. Use Jets 24/7 as a promo code. They'll match up to $100 of your first time deposit. Goes a long way. It helps support the channel. And the other way you can help support the channel, hit that like button. Got over 200 people in here, less than 102 likes. We have 101 to be exact. Hit the like button. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you tonight. This is Jets Talk signing off. Jets.